Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, hello,
We
hello.
are live.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I do apologize. We were not going live a few weeks ago, so we're making up for it today. Today, I got my lovely host, Reese and Jordan, and we're excited to see everybody back again. I'm driving in my car, so please ignore that. And so, we have an interesting, lovely topic for today to discuss. Reese, Jordan, what is our topic for today?
So today we are leaning into shades of prejudice, confronting English, colorism within communities of color. So we are leaning all the way in on it today. So
So if anybody's got any comments, concerns, or want to chime in, please message us. You can come in live on this and talk about your experience with us in regards to colorism within the communities of color.
yes, and the link is in the description. So you can click on it. You can come on video. You can come on audio. You can use a false name, alias, whatever makes you happy. Just come lean in with us. So, with that being said, we will lean into our first question.
Yeah, what is it, Jordan? Go for it.
So, looking back, when was the first time that you became aware of colorism within your community? And how did it shape your understanding of beauty or self worth? Like, was there a specific moment when it directly affected you or someone close to you? What was the impact?
I was in probably like third or fourth grade. And I've always, I mean, I'm light, right? So when I lived in Houston and I lived in the hood, so we lived in a predominantly black area. I went to a predominantly black school. There's a lot of black and Mexican kids in my area. And I think it was like a Christmas party. And it was one of those ones where everybody brought a gift and you like passed it around or whatever. And wherever the teacher said stop or whatever the game was, where you stopped and you had a present. And I got a present that one of the girls in my class wanted. So they thought they were going to bully me out of the present. So we were walking home for the day. And that's when I started being called, a spick or a white girl. Now I am mixed. I'm Puerto Rican and black. So I'm not Mexican, but I'm Puerto Rican and black. But they tried to jump me because I was the white girl who wanted the best present. And I was like, I was so confused because I'm like, I'm not white. But
Right.
as I got older, it got worse. High school was even worse.
Wow.
Middle school, I was in fights all the time. And it was mostly because so-and-so's boyfriend looked at you and you think you're all that because you're high yellow. And I was just like, okay. But yeah, I went through that a lot. It was always, I was too white I was never dark enough for the black girls. And I was obviously not white, so I didn't fit in with the white kids. And so I was always in this really weird, awkward,
Mm,
not fitting in space.
right.
Made having friends and it made uh, being social really hard. And then when, I've always talked the way I talked, even when we lived in the hood. Like I can get ghetto, but like I was really into
Right.
school. I was a big reader. I was big, like I was scouting UCLA as my dream college in like fifth grade. So like I would get, made fun of, oh, you're trying to be white, you talk this, you talk that.
Yeah.
That used to irk the life out of me the most. Because to me, being told I talk white set off a chain reaction of
Yeah.
um, you're insinuating that all of us with color are ignorant. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like that
Hmm.
that insinuation used to piss me off to my core because I would be like, my dad speaks properly. My dad's black, like he's black.
Right.
So what are you trying to say? Like you're trying to say you can only be black if you talk ghetto or if you don't speak like you have an education? Like is that the
Right.
insinuation that all black people are stupid? Like what is the connotation behind that? Like what's the meaning behind that? And then when you say that, then you piss them off even more, right? Because you've
Right.
called attention to their ignorance.
Right.
So it can just be this endless cycle of like, wow, wow.
S- Were you gonna say something,
Yeah.
Mike?
No, I'm agreeing with Reese on that. It's like it's like basically speaking and conducting yourself in a vocabulary other than nah, me, nah, and using foul language is a stapleton of basically it's an indictment within the black community that you black or you down or whatever, not to speak with like a non-educational sense.
Right.
And being single and dating women, of dating black women, and when you talk to them the way I talk to them is like, you speak to them. I've had black women say, "Why do you sound white?" I'm like, "Excuse me? What do you mean I sound white?" Because
Mhm.
I call you ma'am and I speak proper. And
Mhm.
listen, just because I grew up not a chance, like I didn't go to this. I lived in Hunters Creek, which is in Orlando, which is like a suburbs area, right? I lived in Hunters Creek in high school. My entire life, I was in the ghettos all day. But it didn't mean not for a second I chose to elevate my mentality and how I
Right.
speak to people.
Right.
So to hear a woman, a sister, say, "Why do you sound white?" because I'm articulating the way I speak was very
Right.
offensive to me, and it hurts. And as an adult now, when you still hear that, I'm 40 and trying to date and still hear black women say that, it's just like the system in its
Right.
entirety did such a great job that it's second nature to American culture to basically the symbolization of black American culture is to be ignorant and ghetto and not have a proper sense of language and how to speak. And it's sad though, because it's like that's my experience, and I'm pretty sure black women have experienced it, Jordan. I know you have definitely
Mhm.
experienced
Mhm.
it.
All the time.
And you know what I'm saying? Black men of all different areas have experienced it. And then there was a long time there was like, oh, I don't f with light skinned dudes and this, that, and the third. It was like, yo, we still black though. They just, I mean, granted, like in Reese's case, they mixed with white, and then some of them they came from both black parents, but they just light skinned, and it
Right.
was just like they
Yeah.
did such a great job in dividing us. And then, like
Mhm.
Reese said, when you call them out on it, they want to fight you for it because it's like, bruh,
Right.
I'm sorry, you still on that plantation mentality, homie. There
Right.
ain't no field. There's no field Negroes and house Negroes anymore. If you
We
Right.
want
were
to stay in that
conditioned
mentality, that's on you. You stay on that other side of the fence. But everybody out here choosing to educate and uplift themselves and be better, you shouldn't basically be like, oh, you trying to be better than us, this, that, and the third. And then unfortunately, this is what creates a dynamic. Um, when black people succeed, they don't care about helping the community because the community that they came from still shuns them to this day because they're no longer a part of that community
it creates the
intellectually,
divide.
financially, and it's just like it's
It's the
trauma
Jim Crow
bonded.
era. Yeah, it's the Jim Crow era. We were conditioned, right, to, yeah, you're free, but we were conditioned to basically turn on each other, right, for various reasons, skin color being one of them. And now it's so embedded in us that we embrace it, which I think is so
Mhm.
horrible. That's just like back in the day when I had my first podcast a couple, several years ago, like 8 years ago. My goal was to go into places like Pine Hills or just the lower at risk communities and teach entrepreneurship, teach small businesses there that were struggling how to succeed, teach marketing. And I did it for free. I partnered with a local business and I would go and I would host these 2 hour seminars and I would give them free advice. I would set up websites. I would teach them how, like literally everything. I would go in. And at one point, this guy went on the internet and tagged my page, tagged my company, tagged my podcast, and told everybody how they were Uncle Toms for letting a white woman tell them how to run their business. And who the hell do I think I am coming into their
Mm.
community and trying to tell black folks what to do? And a couple people jumped in and were like, yo, first of all, calm down. She's black. And then he's like, oh, don't nobody care. She black. She hot. Take her high yellow ass somewhere else. Da-da-da-da. We don't want her here. But it was this one person who started that and threatened me, threatened violence if I ever came back into the neighborhood. They ended up stopping the seminars. He took that away from a community that
Wow.
was thriving on it, that needed that help and support. I was working in corporate America back then and I was teaching them the things that are usually gate kept from our community, things that people don't
Right.
go back in our community and teach, back. But when wielding digital marketing for, and Facebook marketing for your business was a big deal and only big companies was doing it, I was teaching that and I had to stop. It was crazy. It was just so crazy. And that's in a whole an adult experience that happened not many years ago. Actually, more recently, Mike invited me to a Facebook group and it
Mm.
started a whole ruckus because I was interacting and we had a conversation and a couple people were like, who let this white girl in our group? We need to start telling people, no white people, this is our safe space. And I was like, I'm not white. I'm not white. Oh, don't even start, you are white, blah 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 blah. And yeah, that then was this whole thing. It was this whole thing.
Well, and it's crazy to think that Black people literally can birth two dark Black people, can birth a light skinned Black person, two light skinned people can birth a browner complexion. Like, we can literally birth every complexion there is under the sun. And yet, instead of embracing that beauty and that diversity, we choose to use that as a point of division.
Right.
And like, even going back to what Mike said about, the historical roots of it, like knowing that colorism really stems from colonialism and European imperialism. The fact that Europeans went to Asia and Africa and the Americas and imposed this racial hierarchy with them at the top of it. So
Yeah.
that the darker you get, the less power, wealth, beauty, all of those things you're associated with, the lower social status that you have, and how we're perpetuating that cycle in our own community. And it goes back to, like Mike said, slavery, right? This idea that the lighter skinned people were usually the slave owners' children, illegitimate children. And they were treated differently. They were working in the house and they were considered beautiful because they had this person's attributes, not because of their color of their skin, whatever. But we took that and we still divide ourselves in those ways. Like Mike even said it, working in the field versus working in the house. Like, we have those same contexts, and not just in Black culture, but in, Hispanic cultures as well. I've heard so many people, even Asian culture, going over in Japan, where people are literally walking around with umbrellas so that they don't get darker, because being dark is a sign of
already white.
Lower status, and bleaching their skin and all the things. And I'm just like, how do we get here?
Because like Brazil, right? When you see Brazil or even Cuba on TV, you see people who either look traditionally Hispanic or lighter. Mm-hmm. They very, very, very rarely show an Afro-Latina on TV. But if you ever go there, it will blow your mind, because they are literally as equally diverse in skin color as we are here.
Yeah.
Equally. Puerto Rico's the same thing. Like my mom is a half Black, half Taino, which is Indian, Puerto Rican, right? And her father is, black. My aunt had a set of twins that are literally ebony and ivory. They are literally fair porcelain skin and dark. And you just talked about that. One mom, they were twins, blonde hair, blue eyed. They don't even look related. Like it is like, it's totally different. But when you go to the island, when you go to Puerto Rico's the same thing. It is very, very mixed. But they don't publicize that on TV or in modern America, or like with as far as celebrity statuses. They show people like Bad Bunny and Karol G, who are light-skinned Hispanics. They don't show the actual Hispanics that are Afro-Latina. They are dark skinned.
Right.
There's equally the amount of them. It's literally equal.
And that brings me to the next question in terms of colorism. Like, what role do we feel like media plays in perpetuating this colorism and standards? Go ahead.
Oh, man, I'm a movie lover. I'm a TV show lover. I love film. I'm a thespian at heart, 100%. But that played a big role. If you Black, you a thug, you a gangster, you a raper, you're a murderer, you're a con man. Mm-hmm. You're a con man. And they project that so heavily and so heavily well. Don't act like we don't watch the media news on any crime ever. They purposely, I'm watching news every day at work because it's a part of my job anyways, right? So every now and again, a crime takes place. They always conveniently don't have a picture of the white guy committing the crime. But miraculously, they always got a picture of a Black guy committing the crime. Yeah. A Black guy, a guy with kinky hair.
If it's a person of color, it's always a mugshot. And if it's
always a mugshot.
A paler skinned person, it's always like their picture of them in school, or a picture of them playing sports, or like some other kind of glamorous picture of them. And I'm just like, what?
Yep.
No, exactly. And then you look at film and stuff like that. Like the film Bridgerton, a great film, TV show. I didn't really watch it as much, but I saw clips of it. And it's very entertaining and everything else. I love it. But at the same time, that Reggie Jean Paul guy, great actor, nothing against him. But at the same point in time, that's what they identify. He's a great actor in himself, and nothing to take away from him. But it's like they would rather promote people that look like that than anybody like Viola Davis and Kerry Washington, Regina King.
I think you're mistaken though. Bridgerton takes the opposite. So like Bridgerton, the Queen of England is Black, and then the Princess of England. Yeah, and then the Duke, they're all black. So what Bridgerton did was take history and flip it on its side. So it's a mixed race. Um,
Okay,
but
okay.
but what they do is they talk about how England became mixed. That's probably the only part of it that they tried to keep true, and how England got dukes. So they talk about, there's a whole episode where they talk about how the Queen, in order to, because slavery was over, in order to keep up appearances, they took a whole section of slaves and made them dukes and earls and ladies. And but it was supposed to be an experiment. So they had given them land and given them all these things. But as the experiment, then the prince fell in love with one of the black girls and they ended up getting married. And so that's where like they talk about that. Supposedly, I don't know if this part is true. Supposedly that princess part is true, which is why they're so sensitive about what Archie's color was going to be when he was born. Because they were afraid, just like you said, them genes, when they get activated, they had spent so many years drowning that gene out. They were afraid of what Archie's skin color was going to be.
And again, like, and my apologies, because like I said, my apologies. I didn't really watch the show, but I saw
Yeah,
glimpses of it, and I heard the dramaticism of it, and I was just like, I ain't
it's
going for all of that. But like, it's even in that case, and even with like you said, with the Meghan Markle and the Harry thing, it's like, yo, they find ways to basically. She was on the TV show Suits, and her father's black, and she's light skinned black. But at the same point in time, her biological mother is black and her father is white. And that made a big uproar in the story. And it's just like within the same community, I follow some people, pro black people and stuff. And I'm like, bro, at the end of the day, I understand the trauma behind the rhetoric that you speak and the hate that you speak. But at the end of the day, they ain't responsible for how they came into this world, bro. That's not on them. But you calling them out their name, you basically being extra rude, and you get your man queen coming at black women who supporting another black woman, whether she's their complexion or not, isn't okay. But it's like when you try to tell them that, it's like no, no, no. But then when I hit them with the like, you understand what you're doing, right? Is divisive because within the Asian culture, whether you dark Asian or not, they still gonna rock with you in a foreign country because you
right.
they people. Here in America, black people don't do that.
No.
Black people don't do that. I'm Haitian, and I'm gonna tell you right now, black Americans, you can ask any Haitian in America right now, any African, I don't know about Jamaicans or whatever, and Trinis and all of them, but I know for Haitian people, when we came into America, we fought more black Americans than we fought
Mm.
any other race
I
because
think
of
it's a Florida
because of the
thing.
difference of what we were.
Yeah, I think
Because
that's
we
a
came
Florida
from
thing because in Michigan and in Detroit and even in Houston, I can't speak for all of Texas because I only lived in Houston, but black was black. But it didn't matter what kind of black you were, black was black. Here, when I moved to Florida, that's when I noticed that people will get offended if you say, "Oh, you're black." They'll say, "No, I'm Cuban. No, I'm Asian. No,
Mhm.
They'll correct you real quick, but you're still black, right? But that here is where I noticed that differential. In Detroit and in Houston and even Kansas City, Missouri, like there was no Omaha, Nebraska. If you're
But
black, you're just black.
even as you're talking, all of those places that you're talking about and their role in slavery, right? When you think about that,
Yep,
Florida, we were hot
that's
and
always
heavy in it, right?
yeah.
And so that colorism is still very hot and heavy in it because of so much generational trauma. And granted, people of color might have migrated to other places since then, whatever, whatever. But the overall atmosphere is still very,
Thick here,
yeah,
heavy.
Yeah,
yeah.
man. And it's sad though, because it's like when you try to find ways to change it. Like I said, I don't drive myself ragged thinking about it, but it hurts internally because I'm an empathetic person, right? And it's like, how do we as a people come together to basically unlearn that and
Yeah.
unteach that and uneducate people from that understanding that just because white speaking proper and having higher than a second grade education of speaking is not predominantly decisive to a culture of people.
Right, right.
And it's like having hopes and dreams and aspirations in life is not predominantly a skin tone or given to a different type of people. And it's like
Right.
when you talk about it, and I stay in the hood off rip. I still got peoples in the hood. And I still go there and have the conversation. Those I still talk to and reach out to, minds are open. But then you still hang around the ignorant ones that just okay. They okay with the idea. They're okay with the mentality with it. They not trying to change. Well, I don't care. It's still whatever. I said what I said.
You didn't do the head pat. Okay.
Like when they do this,
Okay.
what I said. I'm like,
Okay. But for me, that comes,
bruh.
it's not
I'm like,
just
yo,
ignorance, it's insecurity as well. Because what I found in my experience, and I haven't experienced colorism per se in the context that Reese has, but like you were talking about with the way that I speak, right? People talking about I speak white. No, I speak English. But what I always get is people are, oh, you think you're better than me? No, you think I'm better than you. I didn't say that. Those words didn't cut. That you're projecting your stuff onto me. I'm gonna need you to get that in check. But that's really what it comes down to.
Right.
Until we get our own insecurities in check, I don't think there is a way to educate it out of people because they're gonna fall back on those same insecurities.
Yeah.
Part of it is
yeah,
systemic. Yes. If you look at media now, if you're light skinned brown person, for a long period of time, you were getting more media coverage, more play, more all of the things than darker skinned women. That is shifting, yes. But it also comes back to that inner work, right? That sense of self-acceptance and self-love, right? Because if you feel like a
yeah.
light-skinned person looks better than you because of the color of their skin, that's a you issue, not a them issue.
Right.
Straight up, and it's facts. And it's like I said, like we all know they do such a great job to the point where like even in the workforce, it's better to straighten my hair to kind of sort of look
Mhm.
like them. It's better for me to lighten my skin. I know a lady who's got pictures. She's got a family picture, right? And I look at the family picture. I went to go see him one time, and I was like, I look at the family photo. I said, "Yo, who this white lady in this picture?" The
That's
kids was
part of
like,
the
"That's my
problem.
mom." I said, "Yo, when I tell you that lady bleached her skin till she was white as snow, I was like, oh my
Um,
god, what
but
happened?" And that's what it is. It's like it ran right. It just like yo, it is the worst thing. And they did such a great job in making us decisive. They did such a great job in having us hate ourselves and not love ourselves in every way possible to the point where it's
yeah.
like we'd rather be anything but
Well,
black.
I don't
Anything
understand
but
why we're
black.
so fixated. Like I said, we can literally birth any color. Why are we so fixated on color? I don't understand it. Like, I really don't get it. But then this brings
Yo,
me,
you line up me and my
go ahead.
family. No, I was gonna say you line up me and my family. Yo, we all of my auntie black, daddy for everybody black, but we still come in different
Mhm.
shades of black. So the fact that everybody, I'm like, yo, at the end of the day, I get it. I know I know the genealogy of our
Yeah.
culture and our people. And but yeah, when you still tell people that it's I don't care, it's what I said. I don't care. It's like it's I don't care, but don't correct me.
Yeah.
Okay, you're fine. You're fine. I'm just helping you out. I'm just helping you out, but it's whatever.
That
You know what I
reminds
mean?
me of my sister. My sister, well, I have two sisters, but my sister one up for me. She's like this color. And she had locks in her hair. She has locks in her hair. And when she was going for an interview, because she's a lawyer, she was going to a job interview, and they told her that the person who sent her for the interview told her that she needs to do something with her hair because her locks were not. So she literally went to her job interview in a wig, got the job, and then wore her hair. But it was like, oh, someone literally said those words to you.
Yeah,
Would
and the fact that she had to even do that is insane.
But that
That
goes back to colorism
It's
and how it impacts our societal standards of beauty and professionalism. That's a big one.
yeah,
I had somebody tell me the other day, I can't go to work with no nappy hair. That's how it grows out of your head. I mean, you don't have to go looking like you just woke up, but this is how my hair grows out of my head. So you're telling me this is unprofessional because it's kinky? Like,
that's your hair texture. I don't understand that. Like that's
but that is part of the colorism. It is, we are going so much off of European standards of beauty, where the lighter skin and the, straight hair and all of the things, and I wasn't made like that.
no, no, and it trickles down to this. It trickles down to this generation of men saying we want a woman to be natural, but we're still asleep with women who got straight hair. We just like women. It don't really matter, but we would prefer a natural woman. Either way, we ain't gonna turn down the cat just because she got cumbrellas for eyelashes. You feel me? Either way, we still finna rock it. But
Okay.
it's just like I don't understand. Like, well, I do get the trauma behind it, but it's like, how do we as a culture foster the acceptance of understanding that this ain't good no more. We in 2024, we still shouldn't be doing this colorism thing. We in 2024, we still shouldn't be black men versus black women, but yet
Mhm.
it is stronger now more than ever. We're 75% in this country, but we don't own 75% of businesses, real estate, property,
Mhm.
dealerships, you name it. Killer Mike said it best, and it's like we focusing on the wrong
How do
Mhm.
thing,
we continue
but
to
we
fight?
fighting
How do we continue to fight for our rights and for equality and for all the things that we the whole Black Lives Matter movement, all of it? How do we continue to do that if we can't stop fighting within ourselves? If
Mhm.
we're too busy dividing ourselves within ourselves on our
Mhm.
own stereotypes and preconditions and preconceived notions and things that have been embedded and drilled in us, if we can't come together and figure out how to fix that first, how do we plan to come together enough to force the United States, I'm not even going to say the whole world, but the United States, to see us equally and be equally respected?
Well, and that's the thing for me going back to slavery and colonialism. That division is what allowed Europeans to flourish. Because if we couldn't get it together enough to stand against them, they continue to win. They continue to prosper. They continue to be able to divide us and pit us against each other. And they don't have to do any of the work because we're doing it ourselves. Right.
and we're funding it.
Right.
We're funding it. We're definitely gonna buy the Louis, the Echo, the Gucci. None of these things are black owned, but it's okay. Let's fund our destruction. Let's fund. Let's keep putting money into the science of research of destroying the blackness of us. We'd rather spend money on a BMW, Mercedes, and all these things to look like we are people of status, rather than saying,
Our money and
"Hey, look
actually
into
become
myself and in
people
my
of
community."
status.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know what I mean? And it is just that. It is that. And I talk to people about it all the time. People who got money, people who ain't got money. It's like, how do you bridge that? And I know black people doing businesses, and it's like literally black people doing businesses with other black people. Everybody's worried about everybody's pocket. How come this person is making that much? I'm sorry. Let me get this straight. Are you getting a paycheck? Are you eating? Yes. So why are you worried about the next man's
That is
pocket?
why we
But they get
can't
too
shift it.
greedy
Going back to Reese's question, because we see each other as competition
all day,
as opposed
all
to,
day.
okay, you're a brown person, I'm a brown person. How can we work together?
Yeah.
And that's where we need to shift the focus away from there. It's not, there is room for everybody at the table. There is, but we have to choose to allow everybody to come to the table.
Right. That's just like Mikey just was talking about how our businesses don't flourish, right? It's crazy to me because, like Mikey said, we'll pay about $150 for a T-shirt from Gucci, right? But if it was a black label, even if it was a high-end label,
Mm-hmm.
the expectation of what you would spend is about a quarter of that. They'll spend $1,000 on a website from a white marketing agency, but they'll come to my agency and want to talk me down to $200 and be
Yeah,
pissed
you
off
look
that
like
I'll
me. You
say
should
no.
give me a discount.
Yeah. Yo, you
Mm-hmm.
helping? Yeah, you're one of us. Like you said you were black. You can't hook me up. You were just gonna pay Bob over there $1,000 for the same website, sir. You were just gonna pay. So it's
Yeah.
and we do that to each other with everything, literally with everything, whether it's clothing stores, grocery stores, um, any kind of you go to Bath and Body Works and spend $25
Yep.
on a spray, but we'll go to a black owned company and complain about paying $12.50 for their lotion. Like it's the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. It's the same. We are so willing to invest in communities outside of our own. We're never going to get ahead that way.
It
We're
comes
never.
back to
We're
unity.
not, and no, and it's like we're not gonna get anywhere that way. And so it's like, people, if you're watching, chime in, let us know. If you watch later on YouTube and everything else, Let's have this conversation. Let's dialogue. Let's come together and fix this because it's not helping us at all. It's not helping us at all. It's really making it a hard thing for us to even get
Right.
together. While everybody's got tons of different podcasts about relationships and hair bundles and this is what I do on my day off and all of that. That's great. Get your money. We support it. But at the end of the day, let's talk about the real issues. How do we stop colorism? How do we start building within our
Yeah.
communities and within each other, foster that trust in nature? I ain't gonna lie to you. We had like one of our episodes of podcast where we talked about culture and dating and things of that nature. It's like I can go in any state, and if you Haitian, sakafet. No matter
Connection.
what,
Right.
we got each other's back. We got each other's back. That's how we are as Haitians. I ain't gotta grow up with you. I ain't had to go to high school with you. That's how we are. However, Black Americans, it's like, why you looking at me, man? What's up? It's like it's quick to like, yo, I gotta bang on you. I gotta get ready to tussle. I don't listen. Crime is crime. Crime is crime. It's all over the world, no matter where you go. But they seem to make it seem like we are the creators of it. We are the fosters of making crime, drugs, this, that, and the third. I'm like, yo, we don't sell the drugs.
No,
When
those
drugs
are
hit
our coping
America,
mechanisms for the stuff that's already going on.
you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I'm like, yo, when drugs hit the American country in the streets, black people wasn't even given rights to fly planes. So how are they getting here? You know what I'm saying? And so we need to basically I really want black people to black Americans to really get into that whole mentality of like they not your enemy. They your brother and sister, no matter what. Because if Haitians can do it, Jamaicans can do it, Trini can do it, black Americans should be able to do
It
it.
should.
You make up 75% of this country. You should be owning 75% politically, science, real estate, everything. You make up 75%. We should be doing that. But now we focusing on why this white lady Reese is in our podcast and these two Uncle Toms is over here bringing her into the circle.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you giving her code. You ain't switching code on her. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm not gonna talk to you. We're not gonna have this conversation. I'm gonna need you to sit with yourself. And unfortunately, those kind of people they're gonna be lost in the system forever. And those are the crabs in the barrel. They're gonna continue to bring it down. And those are the people that the system is going to target to be our destruction, to be our
But
downfall.
that,
Because
go ahead.
those people can be bought easily.
That's twofold. It goes back to, like I said before, competition. Everybody's competition. But it also goes back to self preservation. So many of us are in survival mode. All we care about is ourselves.
Yeah.
That me. I will tear up, burn down everybody else's everything just so that I can have this one thing. That is the mindset that we've learned from, like, going back to colonialism, right? It was all about self preservation. I am not willing to risk my anything for y'all. And we're still, it's generational trauma. We are still rehashing that generational trauma instead of realizing that we are stronger together. You don't have to burn down my business. I will help you. My business will help support you if you just come and be a part of it. Link up with the community.
And unfortunately, the community is okay. I was talking to somebody where they moved out the ghetto and to give their kids a better life and to basically keep them out of trouble. And like all parents, you're gonna do the best that you can for
Right.
your kids, but your kids are gonna basically disrupt and basically fight to be the opposite because they feel like they know better than you, right? And to know that some kids and to know that even adults choose to remain in that system, choose to remain in that mentality is even sad. When they broke their backs hard to get you out of that system and for you to basically thrust yourself back
Mhm.
into it, is a disrespect not to your mother, your grandmother, even your overall ancestors. Some people care, some people don't care. And it's very
Yeah.
sad and it's extremely telling to how well the psychological trauma and abuse. Denzel Washington said it best that the entire black culture in America needs therapy. While we're sitting here talking about, I'm good, I'm all right, now I'm straight, I'm good, I'm all right. We all say it. We all say it, even when we not doing good. We all say it. None of us ain't gonna say, "Nah, I'm not having a good day.
Yeah.
Nah, I'm not low key. I'm hurt. I want to cry. I want to be in the fetal position and just basically bawl my heart out."
Yeah.
What you gonna hear from me as a black man? What you gonna hear from other black men? Man, toughen up,
Yeah.
bro. Stop being a
Yeah.
B. I'm like, yo, you know what I'm saying? But then, and then you'll hear like, we're going back to like still talking within the community and the colorism involved, and it's just like, man, I don't care about them. They light skinned. That's their
Mhm.
problem. They watered down. They're not really one of us. I'm like,
I actually asked
that's
on
harsh.
a podcast show prior years ago. I asked one of the guests that I had on about it, and it was during the time when Rachel Dojo was a big deal, when that whole thing came out, and people were really like up in arms. She lost her job with the NAACP, like the whole nine, right? And the girl told me that the reason she felt that I got so much slack and that colorism was such a big thing is because since I'm light, I could never truly understand the struggle. And so she kind of felt, her and other people, or I guess the other people who felt this way, felt like I would, by claiming to be black, I was trying to ride a trend of our pain because I could
Mm.
never experience it. And it kind of I laughed at her, like, not to be mean, but it's so disconcerting that you would assume
Mm.
to understand what I've been through and what I didn't.
Right.
I will never say that my day-to-day experiences would be 100% like Mikey's or 100% like yours or 100% like
Right.
my husband, who's also, black and darker. Of course, those experiences, because colorism exists, are going to be different. But there's still experiences where we are not treated the same because, again, you may look at me and see me light. A white person looks at me and sees a black person. And to them, we're all black. They don't give a shit what shade we are. Pardon my language. But they don't care. They don't
Right.
care about the melanated shades. They just see a non-white person and you're treated accordingly. So, and I tried to explain that to her, but she was very like adamant about, it's not the same. It's more like you're clout chasing. Like you could pass the
Mm.
white. But I told her, I
Passing.
said, let me
Yeah.
ask you a question. If I were to say I'm Hispanic and then later you found out I was mixed, how would you react? Because then you would say to me, oh, you ashamed of being black. Oh, you
Mhm.
ashamed of this. Are you ashamed?
Mhm.
Like you can't have it both ways, right?
No.
You're literally playing both. So I'm damned if I do and I'm damned if I don't.
And that's
Mhm.
and that's all about internal trauma and ignorance on them. And I must say, ignorance. They may not like it. Whoever may tune in, it's internal ignorance but it's internal ignorance combined with trauma. Because, like you said, Reese, you gonna get treated way different than me and Jordan if we get pulled over by the cops. Let's be
Mm-hmm.
real. Because all 2022 and 2021, no light skinned blacks was getting shot. Let's call it what it is. Let's call it what it is. We was looking at people like me and Jordan, Sandra Blaine, Amar Arbery, Tamir Rice,
Mhm.
11-year-old kid getting gunned down because they looked like me and Jordan. You know what I mean? While, no offense, your complexion, and that's what that lady meant by, but she needs to understand that ain't your fault, bro. That ain't got nothing to do with you. You ain't chasing nothing. You came into this world to be this way. Now you're in this world and you doing your part to fix the system because you still a part of us and you understand the dynamic and what we're going through. They not trying to see that because they're so blinded. They got their blinders on to the colorism. They got the blinders on to that Willie Lynch syndrome, that mentality.
So then
And
uh,
it is hard.
do
No, go
you
ahead.
feel like y'all feel like colorism and racism are different?
No,
No. I
no.
think we would like, as a people, we would like to pretend like it is. I think it makes us feel better about what the repercussions of it are, but it's the same thing. You're no better than the way the white people treat us or clench their bags when we walk into a
Right.
room. You're no better because you're making that same assumption, but you're just doing it
Right.
against your own, and
Right.
you're creating that same animosity against your own.
And I
It's
asked that. Go ahead.
it's a damn shame. Like if I go into a black bar, like I love old school R&B music and I love to step. I have a T-shirt. It was a joke that Louis got me this shirt, but I get it, and I've worn it, and it's worked. But it says lightly melanated, hella black, so that when I walk into a room, I don't immediately get shunned if somebody sees my shirt. And it's
Right. But the fact that you have to do that is a whole thing.
it's a whole like it's
It
funny,
is
but
a
it's
whole
not.
Why do
thing,
I
and
have to
it
prove that
sucks.
I'm black?
Yeah. It's funny, but it's definitely not funny because I have to basically announce. I have to literally wear a label so that I'm not immediately shunned when I walk in. And granted, like it's started conversations, it's gotten laughs or whatever, and somebody will come talk. But it's the fact that I have to do that to break the ice because the initial looks I get, especially holding his hand walking into a room,
Not gonna lie, you would have got that looks from me.
it's off the chain.
Listen, I'm black too, and I ain't gonna front. I'm not gonna front. When I see it come in, when I see a black man come in with a white woman, I see a black woman come in with a white man. I'm just like,
But
I'm
why
not gonna lie.
though? I'm so curious because
I'm
maybe it's because I'm mixed. I don't see it because for me, why does
no,
it matter?
and the reason to me the reason why it matters to me, and it's not like I'm gonna shun you for it. And in my mind, I'm just making sure he or she don't say the N word when the music come on, or don't mistreat you. Because again, inherently, what we know, no matter what, at the end of the day, a revolution pop off, they gonna pick their own.
So do you feel
They
like,
gonna die for their own.
because I've heard this a lot, do you feel like black people can be racist then? If we both all agree that colorism and
Absolutely.
racism are one and the same, can black people be racist?
No, like when you say racism, now you break down the suffix of it and everything else. Loving oneself, yes, absolutely. Being all for self, absolutely. But at the end of the day, I know some white people that are very cool, very down to earth, trustworthy, and all of that. Like I ain't gotta worry about nothing. I ain't gotta worry about no fears and them. I don't fear nobody. But at the end of the day, it's like I ain't got to worry about them. But at the end of the day, the root cause of it is that their history. We know it. And the fact, and not only is their history, but like you said, in mainstream media, they still do it to this day with no recourse.
Mm.
The Alabama brawl, the fact that that white group of people in broad daylight accosted a black man with no thought of repercussions, consequences, that is what we see. This is why we are constantly on high alert when you bring one of them in. Because now, let's be real, the way they infiltrated Malcolm X, the way they infiltrated Dr. King, is through a black person coming in and through a black person loving another white person. We ain't like, it ain't their fault, but people gonna take advantage of, oh, they can let one of them in as long as they betray, as long as they act nice and good. This is how we collect intel. This is how we collect information.
Well, I
This
want
is
you
how
to
we
hear
know how
what
to
you're
market to
saying.
them.
Like, I want to know if you're actually hearing what you're saying, right? Because first of all, what you're talking about is creating a clear and concise divide intentionally, right? And you're defending that divide. But if those same lines were drawn against you and verbalized the way you're verbalizing them now, how would that feel and how would that be taken? I'm not saying
Oh no,
that we
I
can't
hate it.
understand our situation. What I'm saying is that we don't have to further it and ignite it even further and fan the flame, if you will, by creating the same divides on
Yeah,
our side and then demanding that there be no divide on the other side. Do you see what I'm saying? Like you can't.
and
I've
that's
always felt like you can't have both ends against the middle. Just like you can't
no,
pretend
no,
like one minute I'm black because I'm mixed, but then the next minute call me white because I'm mixed. Like, I'm
Whatever
just
suits them.
no,
Mhm.
and no, and you
just
right about that
doing
too. And you right
moment.
about that too. No, and you're right about that too. And you're 100% right. It may sound like I'm defending it. I'm not. I'm just speaking the honest truth about it. I know it's inherently wrong. I don't act on it. I don't even publicize it because I know
But
it's wrong.
when
I'm
you
choosing.
say that
I'm
people will
mentally.
infiltrate, you have to understand that white people also fought for us on our behalf to have freedom. There's good and bad on all sides of everything always. Nothing is all
Yeah.
inherently good and
Mm-hmm.
nothing is all inherently bad.
Right.
People who choose to help and choose to fight that good fight by your words should still be admonished and disregarded because they could be, they
There you
could
go.
this,
Lumping
they
everybody
could
else
that.
together.
You can't do that. During the
And you
Black
should
Lives Matter
no,
movements,
and you
there was white folks literally white folks said, "Let us stand on the front line." I went to every single rally, and there was literally a line of white people who stood in front of us because that way the cops would have to get past them first. Now, were there also white people there in the back instigating shit and throwing stuff? Sorry, Jordan, I'm cussing a lot this episode. But of course there
yeah,
was. There was.
yeah,
But again, they're
yeah.
not all good and they're not all bad. There was a
Right.
whole 2 rows of people, it was at least 150 people that lined us and surrounded us so that if something popped off, they would have to go through them first. And they knew that the cops would be more hesitant to break that line than come directly at us. Do you see what I'm saying? So you just have to be careful. The words you use, words have power and words have meaning. And when you
No, and they do have, and I definitely agree with you on all of that. Words do have power, and I'm not diminishing anything I'm saying, and I'm not also defending anything I'm saying. I'm just saying how it comes off to me. You ask me
Yeah.
why, I explain to you why. I explain to you the thought process on it. Do I act on it? No. Do I operate in giving everybody the benefit of the doubt? In my mind, you get an A of trust. I don't care who you are. It's your job. You get an A plus in my class of trust from me. It's your job to maintain it. Now, as white people, I'm always going to be.
That's what I was about
I'm
to say.
always
But if
going
in
to
the
be.
back of your mind you have that skepticism, they're not starting with the A plus. They're not. They can't.
No, and you know what? And I'm aware of it. I'm aware of it, and I'm admit to it right now. I'm always going to have that skepticism, but I'm gonna still act accordingly to my beliefs on it. That skepticism is inherently taught. That skepticism is inherently things from I've seen from my perspective. Where 1 minute you my friend, but then when you get mad, you fucking nigger. I'm like, oh, not. I'm so sorry for cursing too, but not not the homie that was here tossing drinks with me. You're my brother, man, and then I don't agree with something you say. I'm an N
That's when you
word,
know who they are and you treat them accordingly. Those are the people you cast.
Exactly,
Act that way,
At
and
the
you
end of
have to you take them for who they are. When they show you who they are,
they are accept them
move on.
exactly. And so, like I said, and like I said, and like you said, you are right. There are tons of good white people. Jane Elliott is a good white person. What's her name? That old lady from the Golden Girls. What's her name? What's her name? What's her name? What's her name?
Betty White.
Betty White, Mr. Rogers. They all did it within their confines. Marlon Brando. You know what I mean? Who else? Robert De Niro. They all do things from behind the scenes within the confines of their
Right.
abilities. I'm just telling you the truth, how I see it, and how I react and respond to it, and maybe how a lot of people may act and respond to it. You're getting it. You asked the question. I'm telling you, it doesn't sound good. I ain't gonna lie to you. It doesn't sound good. It's not okay. I know it's not okay. I'm gonna struggle with that. I'm gonna struggle with that and other personal things. But I'm also choosing to decide to work on that. And that's where you get attacked for your colorism, because they have to understand you're wrong. What you said was wrong. Apologize to that lady. Work on that. But you know how you feel and where it came from. But apologize and still work on that. My skepticism will always be there because I've experienced it. I've seen it. They control the system. They control the system that incarcerates us. They control the system that imprisons us. They control the system. We have politicians that can't. We have colored politicians that still get flack for trying to help out the community. We have colored politicians that get in and say, we're going to change the system. We're going to change the world within the system. Yet it's an uphill battle for them 24/7, and they're getting attacked by the community they fighting for. They suffering hard because every day they wake up. Every day they wake up, and they still get attacked by the people they singing out to protect. It's not okay. It's not right, and it hurts. And I weep for them at the end of the day. I'm not contributing to it. My thought process is my thought process. I don't go out there and be like F all white people publicly and announce. I'm just like, man, trust them, but also be cautious of them. We're talking about building trust within our own community first. We have to trust our people first before we can trust anybody else, because they can trust their people first. Asian culture can trust their people first, even when crime is crime everywhere else. We don't monopolize it, but we still have to trust our people first before we can trust anybody else. Now, as I say this, doesn't mean, hey, don't have trust in anybody. Be cognizant. Be just, you know what I mean, giving them the benefit of the doubt. Let them prove to you they are for you. Like you said, you had 2 rows of white people, trustworthy. The same lady that, like, for instance, the same lady who campaigned for Obama is the same lady that we saw the Central Park dog walker call the police in fear, saying there's a black man here. He's threatening my life as he's checking her about putting the dog on the leash. But she campaigned for Obama. She also did things for, she also tried to assist in the black community. In a split second, how you go from helping the community to basically trying to get a black man shot? You know that phone call you made was going to either get him killed, and you did it intentionally. But yet you signed up to help a black community. You signed up to help a black man. At the same point in time, they don't get the same grace period because, and I'm gonna be real, they don't get, we don't see them like that. They get the same grace period. It doesn't sound good what I'm saying. I'm telling you the truth, but that is the mentality that we have.
Performative activists. They're performative white folks who do things for the look of it and for the attention it gets them and for the savior complex that it contributes to for them. There are that. So it's not just by their standing up once or whatever that makes it okay. Again, when you're hanging out and you're throwing drinks back and they drop an N-bomb, mental note of who they are and put them in that spot accordingly. But I'm just saying, you can't lump everybody into that. That's all.
And you're right. And you're right. And
I'm not just talking about white people. I'm talking about within our own community. On all, you can't just see a light-skinned person and be like, oh, he likes.
Oh, they the enemy,
handsome, or he thinks he's this, or she thinks she's all that. Because listen to her talking.
Yeah, stereotypes. We got so many.
You contributing to the stereotypes we fight. We at the beginning of this podcast, we started talking about being caste typed, and we can only get roles as criminals and thugs and this and that. Y'all typecast, not y'all, but people typecast within our own community. You see a light-skinned person, you automatically assume, oh, she's a bitch. She thinks she's better than everybody. Oh, she thinks she's cute.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She ain't even opened her mouth yet. You ain't even said hello yet. Like you haven't even had a conversation, but that same stereotype you kick and fight against and get mad at is the same stereotype you tinkling around in your head and spewing at people.
Yeah.
At some point, we have to look at ourselves as a community and be like, what are we doing? What are we doing? How do we get out of this?
And it's a good question. It's so 100% true. And we can't forget, like at the end of the day, it is trauma based to the point where they've done such an inherently great job in installing it in us. I remember I was getting blood, and this beautiful sister behind the counter, and she was getting my information, and I don't know why, for the love of God, I don't know why I said this and where it came from. But I ain't gonna lie, I'm mortified by it to this day. I said, yo, you're very pretty for a black chick. Why? I ain't never said that a day in my life. Why did those words utter out of my system? And my cousin was like, yo, bro, did you just say that? I was like, yo, what did I say? He said, you told that girl she pretty for a black chick.
Anytime somebody looks good for that's never a compliment.
That's never a compliment.
Never.
It's not. And I ain't gonna lie, to this day I eat myself up for it because it was like, I don't know where it came from. But I'm taking responsibility for it. But at the same point in time, that's how inherently the system works so well, to the point that I said that to a sister who looked like me.
Yeah.
Yo, I'm tight with myself about it, even when I think about it and I bring it up sometimes. I'm like, I can't believe I said that. You know what I mean? That and it's like victims of abuse in a relationship. And she's like, oh, I'm fine to date somebody again. No, you're not. You need therapy. You need to heal first before you go out there and try to date somebody. You need to heal first. And black people as a whole, light skin, dark skin, those coming in need to heal, need therapy as a whole. There's nothing wrong with sitting on the couch talking. There's nothing wrong with sitting on the couch talking. Get all of that out of our system. Until we do that collectively, we're going to have that continuous battle. I ain't going to lie to you, because it doesn't make any sense. But we have to treat it like it's a mental illness and a disease, and it is.
Yes,
no medication is needed. It's just therapy. It's therapy that is needed.
I truly believe that colorism comes from self-hate.
I agree.
Yep. 100%. 100%. I was a kid and I remember like, oh, I want to make myself light skinned. At 5 years old, why would I want to make myself light skinned? Why? You know what I'm saying? Why? I've done all of those things and I'm just like, yo, I understand what it's all coming from. It's trauma based. I ain't even gonna lie to you. As a 5-year-old boy, I shouldn't even want to change my complexion. I shouldn't even want to know what that's about. but that was in my mind. I don't know where it came from.
Yeah.
Maybe from my mama, because I was using her creams, so I don't know, probably. But you know what I mean. But at
Yeah.
the same point in time, it's like, why is it a thing for us?
Well,
You know
and
what I mean?
that's even, you bringing that up. And Mike, I keep meaning to say this, but we keep on talking. Are you going to turn some lights on so we can actually see you? Or are
Yeah,
you
because at
just
this
going to
point,
be.
all we see is teeth.
I mean, because, yeah, it's nighttime now. It's nighttime, friend. But um,
Yeah,
All we see is that
my
pretty
bad.
white
you
smoke.
have
There you
disappeared, friend. You disappeared. So I think a lot of it also, not just the intergenerational trauma, but that colorism is passed down within our families. Because I remember talking with my dad, and my dad's dad is like your complexion, Mike, and my dad's mom is like Reese's complexion. And so my dad is the darkest one. He's like a little darker than I am, but all of his siblings are like Reese's complexion. They all have straight, long, glorious hair. And I remember him talking about his childhood growing up and how hard his mom was and how hard his mom's family was on him because of the color of his skin. And I'm like, this is your child. Like, but this is the type of things that we're reiterating, that we're cultivating in our homes, is this sense of colorism. And I don't even know how many people notice it, but it is.
Yeah.
Or people will. I remember I was talking to somebody, and this is not even, well, whatever. I was talking to somebody, and they were like, oh, well, I prefer you when your hair was relaxed and long and straight as opposed to what it is now. And I was just like, but that's toxic and not how my hair goes out. They were just like, yeah, I know, but it was just so like silky. And okay, but that's not like, but this is what we encourage. This is what we continue in our society. Like, so it starts with, for me, as we're wrapping up, the take home for me, and how to end or how to recover from colorism, is to start looking at ourselves and looking at the people in our lives and how are we treating them. And we may not think that we are, but a lot of people are reinforcing colorism in their day-to-day lives. So I'm challenging people to take a look around. What stereotypes are you reinforcing about different shades of people?
Right.
I ain't gonna lie, I'm guilty of that, and I used to joke around with my cousin. I joke around with my cousin about it, and this topic, I need to do better about it. I'm guilty of it. I need to do better about it. She'd be like, I'm black. I'm like, no, you're not. Right? She's family though. She
No.
lighter than us, but she's family though. You know what I'm saying? And so that was the
But
thing.
imagine how she feels, because you're pouring that into her. You're not black.
Yeah.
And you are unknowingly contributing to trauma, right? Because of how she sees
Yeah.
herself, how she
Unknowingly.
sees herself in the
Unknowingly.
mirror,
You
how
know what
she
I'm saying?
sees herself in society, her place
Yeah.
within her people is, she's harboring all those same things that I have to harbor, right? And when your family is then on top of that telling you you're not black, or you're not black enough, or you're not
Yeah,
this,
you're not enough.
you
Yeah.
hold that and you hold on tight to it because that's your family.
Yeah.
Those are the people who love you. And if that's how they see you, how does the rest of the world see you?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
We got to do better.
Completely.
As a people, as a society, we have to do better about not reinforcing those color stereotypes, whatever the color, whether it's pale or dark or any of the shades in between.
yeah.
We got to do better.
Absolutely.
So I know people talk about, I don't see color. No, that's not the answer. You can see color. Just
That's a lie.
appreciate the
That's a
diversity in
lie.
the color. Let's
That
let's
part.
do that.
That part.
Any last
Yeah.
thoughts, feelings, all the things as we wind out?
I would say this. Let's try to be better. To my family members, I'm sorry. I'm gonna be
No.
better at it. To the lovely sister that I made that comment to, 40, not 40. I'm about to say maybe 20, 30 years ago. My apologies. 100%. You're a beautiful black queen. My apologies. We love you. You awesome. And to my cousin, light skins and all, I love y'all. You one of us. My
Why do it gotta
apologies.
be
I'm
light
working on that.
skins? Why can't you just say to my cousins?
I hear you, but I got a lot of them, and I did it to a lot of them. So yeah,
It's
there
to
we
my
go. Right?
cousins across the board. We don't
I,
need to
you right. You right.
divide them by the color
You
of their
right. To
skin.
my cousins across the board, I love you. I'm sorry. I'm gonna do better. I promise you on that. I give you my word, and you know my word is bond all day.
Deal.
Thank you, Reese. Do you have anything?
Um, I mean, just that I hope that somebody watches this, even if one person watches this and has a moment like Mike just did. I think that makes a big difference. And I think for me, I've shunned away from doing some of the things that I was truly passionate about, and I may rethink that a little bit because I think me stepping away
No,
doesn't serve my purpose or serve the
Yeah.
purpose I hope to leave. So I may be rethinking that a little bit.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of this wonderful episode and much needed. And, remember as always that our goal is not to dictate conclusions, but to encourage healthy self reflection and open, honest, keyword, dialogue to help us to better understand the world around us, but most importantly, ourselves. So, with that said, we invite you to keep the conversation going in the comments. Tell us about your experiences, like, share, subscribe, all of the things. We love to hear your stories and your perspective and your ideas if you have any for future episodes. Thank you for leaning in and going beyond the sum of our parts. Until next time, bye.
Bye.
bye. God bless.
Wait, hold on. Sorry, y'all.